that tonight we have Tonya Foster and Arthur Long speaking. And I'm also very happy that we have two Poetry Project board members doing guest introductions this evening, Evelyn, Reilly, and Katie Lederer. So first we'll have Evelyn Reilly introducing Tonya Foster. Please welcome Evelyn.
Hi everyone. I haven't said hi to Tonya. Where is she? Oh, there she is. It's great to see everyone, and it's really great to be able to introduce Tonya tonight. I've always been a bit amazed at all the poets who are managing to live in New York City and get their writing done and do editorial work within the poetry community, and at the same time do classwork and write PhD theses. Yet it's almost started to seem like a way of life for poets. And since it has, I've become a little bit interested in how these really hardworking poets reveal themselves in the overlapping arenas of their creative and scholarly activity. And I don't really know how up-to-date this might be, but I found online a description at least a part of Tonya's PhD project, and it's called A Grammar of Where, a title that I really like a lot. It's described as an exploration of how nation, home, and community are imagined and named. How is home referenced, Foster asks? How is it constructed? What are some of the relationships and changes in relationships over time between the lyric I and home, and between myriad homes and myriad I's? Then, in her poetic series, A Swarm of Bees in a High Court, she asks, is from always the cardinal womb through which our looking flies? A question of origin, place, and directionality that brings both personal and geographic history into a lyric, which at one point she calls an insomniloquy. This is work that contains a certain kind of wry humor. Beside her, he lies curled, sleeping apostrophe, possession and O, mission accomplished. Or, pussy is condition, ing, and The poetry also carries out an investigation of the relationship of self to place that incorporates the sounds of a very distinct urban streetscape, overlaid by the pseudo-sounds and places of nighttime TV. It does so through a wordplay that often documents a racialized society in which the body space may end up chiming with real estate. Blackety black girl at play on the court of your skin, imminent domain, in which physical presence is sometimes marked by loss, in her body's swarm of mundane sadnesses, womb-weary, cash-low, years, and sometimes gives forth a kind of prayer. Rain, clear this moment's deadlock of was, will, which is followed by a line I really admire, wash us and do be. Tonya is a recipient of fellowships from the New York Foundation for the Arts, Macdowell, and the Ford and Mellon Foundations. Her poems and essays have appeared in magazines such as New York Arts Magazine, Callaloo, The Hat, Western Humanities Review. She is co-editor with Kristin Prevallet of Third Mind, teaching creative writing through visual art, and her book, A Swarm of Bees in High Court, is about to appear, or maybe even we have it, from Belladonna. Please welcome Tonya Foster.
Thank you, Evelyn, for that intro, and thank you, Stacy, for having me here. It's really lovely to be reading here, and to be reading with Martha. And the book is not yet out, but it will be out. So the bulk of the reading, I'll read from three things. One is a newer poem. I'll also read from Swarms of Bees in My Court, and then I'll end with In Tongues for Auntie Jeanette. 1. Because you haven't spoken in so long, The tongue stumbles and stutters, sticks to the roof and floor of the mouth. Let me start again. 1, because you haven't spoken in so long, the tongue stumbles and stutters, sticks to the roof and floor as if the mouth were just a house in which it could stagger, like a body unto itself. You once loved a man so tall, sometimes you stood on a chair to kiss him. 2, what to say when one says, you're so musical, takes your stuttering for scatting, takes your stagger for strutting, takes your try and try it again for willful, playful deviation. It makes you want to not holler. 3, it ain't even morning or early, though the sun-up say day and you've been staggering long voguing in a certain breathless stillness that we can't but call death. Though stillness suggests the kind of possibility that's less than dead. 4, how that one calling your trying music, calling your saying entertaining, thinks there's no then that we, who then that we remember, trace in our permutations of saying. What mastodonic presumptions precede and follow each word, each bee, each bitter bee. 5, these yawns into which we enter as into a harbor. Come, go, don't, says the vocal oceans which usher each us, so unlike any ship steered or steering into. This is a habit of place and placing a body. Swarms of bees in high court. There are 2 epigrams. Dust-nearing bees sink into the sanctum. From their eyes we're watching God. And it bees like that sometimes. Harlem Nocturnes. As always, there is our black road. Our tock-tock clocks roar our gates and gravel. As always, there is this hill we climb. You're our thicket of stroll and stutter. As always, there is, just is, was and will be, you're our perennial knots. As always there is, unravel the ends of was, will be, is, us, tongues. As beings, come, dance each evening's fractal glitches. Here, hope's hustle. As being comes dawning, each fearsome fucking glance hacks into being. Beside her, he lies curled, sleeping apostrophe, possession, and oh, mission accomplished. Again to this sweat. Now sleep, but not for her. Sleepless eyes like stagnant pools, saltiness, then this thirst for ice. Another night's gradations of darkness become the sheet counted. Another night's darknesses like tar, like silt, like steel wool, coil along her screen's narrow field of light. She wants to shout into the pastoral sleep of his face, to shout at how sleep absents him, dissolves him from into himself. Pussy is condition. Al, ing, ender, and position, chromosomal, prepositional. Behind them, brackish water banks through bathroom pipes, through the evening's TV tones, through this his cask of sleep. Click the remote. Cough into the dark tree of her hands. Swallow her voice back into the back dark spit of our throat. Permit silence despite. Can running her finger like a hiss along this his clavicle trip parenthetical affection? Full of sleep, this his dark husk pulls closer. Catone and catwoo, meow meows under the closed bedroom door. Unmet desire stalks the bed and cupboard, unrelenting brambles. She stares into her TV's 2 a.m. glares, watches the way she once watched a boy's body, too quick for caution and traffic signs, parse the asphalt. Neighborhood boy, corner boy, man to be, been, bones, done and gone. What light is good on that? To want and not ask. She, insomnium dramas, gets chased round the block by rabid white dogs. She, insomnium, drums up the dreary and damned, stalks interstices, 'cause body isn't a grammatical sentence. There's no fleeing flesh. In soliloquies. Earthworms aren't maggots. Eating them ain't planting a tree or a flag. She wants to shout at her TV when some Sue gulps earthworms from a cup. She wants to shout at this idea that there's playback for what's done to come. Earthworms aren't decomposers nor distraction from street corner noise. You'd think a woman would know this, she thinks. This thought, a squirrel on a lawn. You think a woman. There are thoughts of other women, more squirrels. Her mother. I'd hate you to miss sex when she wanted to be a nun. Her mother. I'd like to hear this. What do you know about a man? When she wrote home about her lover, whose mother taught her to knit. When she wrote home about knitting, she was still girl incognizant, still the girl writing, we are the faces we wear. Where? In flashback. Still the girl with a face like a movie screen, who knit skull caps with yarn red as cartoon blood, as red as Mammy Two-Shoes shoes, matchstick head, yarn red as cartoon lips, tongues red as bandanas, and pomegranates. Red as blood, butterfly across the seat and white of summer culottes. Red as blood that says mother, maybe mother, says watch and count. Red as red velvet cakes she thawed and ate over 2 months morning time. Red as red velvet curtains she wanted to drape around this moment. Red as morning, as bluster, as bluff, as the flat of offering plates. Red as morning, as unheeded signal to stop, as sliced rare meat. Red as distant red hook bees drunk on cherry fungicide cocktails. Red as distant space, mapped bought and belonging to brutish say-so. Red as red squirrels, as maples, as districts set for and live with wanting. Red as red squirrels, North American, Eurasian, native, migrant. Red as red as red, ass red, as a baboon's ass is red. Come on, stop. Red ass red, as the seeping of coulda, woulda, you know. Red as subjunctive, being the butt of taken and took down. Red as subjecting, beings becoming to merchandising lines and limits. A red letter day in the red light district of insomniac night. A red letter day to see red scare the shit out of reason. Red culled from rubia or madder root. Red culled from the sawdust of the brazelwood tree. Red culled from clay, from crushed conchineal and kermes, from worms dried and ground. Red culled from cinnabar, mined by slaves and prisoners. Red as was here, as becoming not here. Red as not and note and gone. Each red a note the ears noticing and noting, notational nothings. Each red a sheepish syllable, counted in sleep's pursuit. Each red a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a buzz, a blaze of wanting. Color that the temporarily colorblind first perceive, red. Be utterly fly. swims through cornered voices. To be is to be. Be utterly fly, be itch, be road, be ache. Between want, have, reach. Color that disappears in early film. Black, boot black, blue black. What's she know about silence? How it settles in a throat like swallow. How it settles like swallowing water or seeds they say might take root. How it settles like feet stepping into the daily of their own falling. What she know about be coming to mind at times she thinks she don't think. How her throat tightens like a branch on which cataclysmic swallows roost. How her throat tightens, tracks through slow syllables, mercy's absence. Geometry of a park pool. A boy presses her 12-year-old head, geometry of an air-filled melon beneath water with deft hands she struggles against. Someone she can't remember sees her thin arms as she struggles against his hands, their struggle breaking the water skin. As if to make plain the difference between a thought and a need, as if to map the shifting climates between words and bare knuckles, as if to show her knowing wasn't needing. He says he was playing. As if to show her the winters between words and his budding fists, he laughs. His young voice filled already like a snow globe with the coming winters. His young voice filled all her thoughts of water, echoes in each syllable. But need is the swarming of a sonorous and deep darkening hive. But need is the swarm that only a keeper can take action against. Yesterday swarms. In the marrow of our thought says, she, he lies there, here, sleepless. Yesterdays swarm in. To eat or not to, then what? She clears her throat. You can't be eaten from everybody, her aunt warned after the first loss. You can't be eaten like you don't mind trading a baby for red beans. That yarn's redness bleeds Persephone, Eve, Jemima, Renee, more squirrels. That yarn's redness, eating from a strange pot tree hand mine, draws blood or sleep. It was too late to think about being. No good sleep in such thoughts. It was too late to have become a chill comfort. It let such stillness keep. This moment's the smallest measure of memory, thimble of meaning. This moment's the small may in a flash be subject of central forget. Beside her, the dark husk murmurs. What to do? Love what could destroy you. Beside her, the darkness outlines low lamplight, internal fog, these times, time again. The dark husk murmurs in stereo, chest, building, block, city, drones on. And the last thing I'll read from Swarms of Bees. How am I for time? I'm almost 15 minutes, right? When Moses parted the Red Sea as if it were hair, was he tender? When Moses parted company with his crew, was God at night enough? Knots of a woman who ain't numb with want, who's not effaced by shut eyes. Knots form this woman who sugars her mustards, who want but never ask. In her body's swarm of swarms of cells, of tissues, of sounds, achu and shush. In her body's swarm of mundane sadnesses, womb-weary, cash-low years. And I'll stop there with that. The last piece I'll read is a piece from a prose piece. It's a prose and poetry piece, and it's about my home, New Orleans. So I'll start kind of in the middle of things. Water like language, like water, like language, like water, like language, like otters, like language, like daughters, like otters, like licking, like lapping, like language waters. Containment is one of my hometown central concerns. Some of the dead, to keep them dry and from contaminating the living, are buried above ground in stone crypts that one, as an almost native, without seeming to notice, walks easily among. Those buried under the wet dirt are put there with the knowledge that water rises. It's such a complicated matter, the attempt to contain the thing that defines you. In the Big Easy, a name suggested by the general attitude of the city's inhabitants, an elaborate system of interconnected man-made levees stretch along the river and the lakefront, across the swamps and along the waterways. Canals and pumping stations like veins and hearts move the water through. So although New Orleans was built because of its proximity to the Mississippi River, the city's survival and growth have always been dependent on containing and on protecting itself against the very thing that called it into being. The act of writing involves a similar process of construction and resistance. Only after taking in my mother language along with the voices of that place, a girl who looks like her father is born for luck. Alcohol, Algiers, Alligator, Amazing Grace, Amelia, Angola, Atchafalaya, Aunt Noni, Ancestor, Azarine, back of town, Bayou, because her daddy died or left, because the firstborn baby died, Beignets, Bitch, Bootsy, Cafe au Lait, Callio Projects, Canal Street, Cardella, Cast Iron, Catching Coconuts, Catching Scents, Cayenne, Clio Street, Cockroaches, Call Them Kitchens, Congo Square, Cornbread, Courtyard, Cousins, CPT, Crawfish, Creole, Dark Skin Daughters, Dead End, Desire, Desire Projects, Desire Unmet, is Desire Multiplied. Dirty Rice, Dorothy, Elysian Fields, Erato, Etouffee, Uturp, Ezekiel, Father John's, Filet, Firstborn and died, Fleur de Lis, Flood for True, Front Porch, Galvez, Gertown, Gimme Some, Girl, Gimme got shot. Get up in here, God don't like ugly. Good hair, grandma, grandpa done lost his mind. Grief grown rooted and wild. Grief like dirt. Hard-headed, hard-hearted. Hard-hearted. Her mouth don't know no Sunday. High yellow, Holy Ghost, hoodoo, how sweet the sound. How y'all doing? How your mom been them? I ain't playing what you know. Jambalaya, jazz, jump back, jump rope, Katie, kick back, kick your ass, kitchens on your neck, knickknacks, Kool-Aid, lanyard, lakefront, levee, light skin, lighter than a paper bag, Louis, St. Louis, Louis the 14th, my Belle, my Dear, Magnolias, Make Groceries, Martin Luther King Boulevard, Melpomene Projects, Memory, Mental Ward, Mississippi Bridge, Mississippi River, Miss Myrtle, Miss Tip, Moriel, Morning, Mosquitoes, Morning, Mudbugs, Muffalata, Nappy-headed, Neckbone, Nutriground, Nutrirats. Nobody likes a bone but a dog. NOPD, not luck enough to keep a body strong. Okra gumbo out front of town, oysters, pecans, pickled pig's lips, pispo, po' boys, porch monkeys, potholes, quadroons, quarter, quiet, rain through the living room windows, red beans, red bone, Reverend Prophet, rice, river, rue, saints, sedity, sassafras, sachimo, screen doors, semen, seventh ward, snowballs. Speak the word to me. Spit on the broom to stay out of jail. St. Charles Avenue, Strongerville Baptist Church, Superdome, Swamp, Tambourine, Chapatulas, tender-headed, tender-hearted, tenderoni, Turba thought, throw me something, mister. Tipatinas, trouble don't last always. Uppity, vagina, Virginia, voodoo, wade in the water, wishes go the way of sweepstakes. Where you at? Where you from? Woman, wrought iron, your ma, your pa, your greasy grandma. You ain't nothing. You thought like Aunt Hannah, who thought cat shit was banana. Xavier, Zatarans, Zulu, Zydeco, amen. Thank you.